So module 5, right, as I said, we want to take a look at the types of accident and sickness policies. So remember that all of the general insurance policies that we've already looked at, right, that we've already took a look at before, um, also applies to health insurance, right? So remember when we talked about this in life insurance, right? We've talked about, completing the application, going through the disclosures, right? Issuing the receipts, delivering the policy. So all of this we've already talked about, but it's important, as I mentioned, to review them again, right? Because they kind of shadow back into what we want to know for health insurance as well. Okay. So let's start off with going through the disability income policies. All right. So disability income policies, we can break them down into individual disability policies and group disability policies. So for the individual disability policies, right, it can help replace a portion of your income if you're unable to work due to a serious illness or injury. Okay, so it can help you, right, by providing with benefits and avoiding you to exhaust, right, your retirement savings. Okay, so you kind of can think about this when we look at, right, filing claims, right? And we'll talk about that, we'll clarify that more later on. Now, we also have group disability policies, right? So just like kind of group life insurance policies, these are offered by employers, right, as part of a bigger benefit package, right? So if an employee becomes disabled, then it provides income replacement, right? And again, income replacement really just depends on, right, the severity of the injury or the severity of the illness, correct? So what are some similarities between individual versus group life insurance policies? What are some differences? And we can apply that to our health insurance policies as well. So if we look at our business overhead expense policies, right, these are policies that cover operating expenses of a business, right, if the owner becomes disabled. So if the owner is unable to pay rent, right, unable to pay for the water bill, the gas bill, right, the electricity bill, and the employee salaries, then, right, this ensures that the business can continue during the owner's disability period, right? It provides the owner with operating expenses, right? It kind of uh, helps the owner cover those so that the business can operate. So kind of think about the word overhead, right? Overhead expense, right? Okay. We can also look at the business disability buyout policy. Now, when we talked about life insurance, we've already looked at this, something really similar, and that was the life insurance buy-sell. This is really, really similar because this policy provides funds to buy a share of a disabled business partner, right? So this allows the remaining partners to continue operating the business without financial strain. Okay, so if a one business partner becomes disabled, the other business partner can utilize the funds from this policy to continue, right, running the business effectively. Now, what about when we take a look at our key employee policy? So with the key employee policy here, okay, we also want to relate this to what we talked about when we looked at the life insurance key person policy. Because once again, it is really, really similar. So if we look at this policy is where if a key employee becomes disabled, and this key employee could be a CFO, right? It could be a person that has helped the company earn a lot of revenue, right? That can all be classified as a key employee. And so this policy provides funds to offset the loss of the employee's expertise, right? And so it can be utilized to recruit new people that can replace the roles of that individual. So now we also want to look at some of the disability, the similarities and differences between group versus individual disability. Now, we've already looked at some of this when we look at life insurance because we can apply what we talked about in the previous module to here, okay? So just think about whenever we have a group policy, no matter if it's health or life, right? What are some differences and similarities, right? Compared to individual, right? So take a moment to think about this, and I'll share my answers with this as well. And again, right, focus on the purpose, the cost, the underwriting, policy control, beneficiary designation, and taxation, right? Taxation is also very important. Take a moment to maybe jot some notes down, see what you remember from life insurance and apply it in this case, and then we'll go over our answers. All right, so let's take a look at some of the similarities and differences between individual versus group disability. All right, so with individual, right, policies, we know that it's more costly per person, while on group, it's less costly per person, right? So we can relate this also to life insurance policies, right? In which we can kind of draw some similarities with that. Remember that just like life insurance, individual policies don't require individual medical underwriting, right? There would be underwriters that retrieve information from the MIB, right? The Medical Information Bureau, right? They could retrieve also inspection reports, right? As well, right? Remember that from module 1, right? But with the group policies, right? They only require group underwriting, right? So in that case, we can see that usually it doesn't zone on a specific individual's health, but more towards, right, the health status of an entire group of individuals. And individual policies, right? An individual has more control and can be the policy owner. Well, in a group policy, right, is a type of third-party ownership. And so the master policy is issued to the employer, and the insureds, right, the employees or group members receive certificates of insurance and an outline that describes their benefits. Okay. Now, here's the thing that we want to take note. In individual policies, right, individual paid premiums are not tax deductible, but proceeds are tax-free, right? So we focused a lot on taxation earlier, and we took a look at how premiums, right, we don't get a tax deductible. So the total taxable income doesn't change, right? Isn't reduced, but proceeds are tax-free. Now, for group policies, here's what we want to distinguish. And health insurance, okay? Employer paid premiums are tax deductible to the employer as a business expense, right? So to the employer as a business expense, but proceeds are taxable to the employee. So like if we look at like disability benefits, right? That would be taxable in most cases. Benefits, all right, disability benefit. So this is different from life insurance because death benefits aren't taxable, right? Remember when we looked at group life insurance and we saw beneficiaries don't get taxed for receiving that benefits, right? So this is different from life insurance, right? Because of that. So make sure that we kind of note this kind of subtle difference, but it's there, right? So we want to make sure that we take note of that. So taxation, right? They on the exam, if you look at the content outline, right, they always have a section on that. And you just want to be aware, okay, of this nuance. All right. So now let's go over some questions here just to and review this through this information, take a look at some of these exam type questions, and then we'll go over them shortly. All right, so let's take a look at some of these answer choices here. Hopefully, for question one, right, we just want to refer to the diagram that we just looked at. And we know that for these group disability under this employer paid group, right? Group, that's the key. Group disability income policy, right? Disability income benefits are considered fully taxable, right? We just looked at that, right? On the taxation portion of our compare and contrast diagram, right? So make sure to read these questions carefully. For question two, right? This would be an example of contract of adhesion. We really need to go back to review, right? Our unique aspects of insurance contract, right? We need to go back to review those characteristics and elements from life insurance. Remember that we can on the exam they can give you a question about this, no matter if it's in a life insurance or a health insurance type, like a context type question. Right, perfect, great job. So now two more here, and go ahead and read through them, and then we'll also go over them shortly as well. All right, so let's take a look at these as well. So we can see that for topic, for question three, we have a group insurance that specifies what percentage of eligible individuals must be offered under a non-contributory plan. Ooh, so this is a review back to, if you remember, contributory versus non-contributory. We see that we can have these in both life and health insurance. So for question three, for non-contributory plans, 100% of all eligible individuals must participate. All right. For 75%, that was contributory, right? That was a contributory plan. Okay. Now for question four, right? The answer would be gender, right? So we know that we can have, right, additional benefits depending on length of appointment, salary grade, and job category, but we shouldn't have discrimination. That kind of relates to some of the unfair trade practices as well. All